There are people who live ordinary lives, and then there are people who feel different. Not better, not superior, just different. They feel pressure others don't understand. They feel resistance that seems personal. They face battles that appear disproportionate to their situation. If that sounds familiar, it may not be random. When you are chosen, you are marked. And when you are marked for purpose, you are also marked for attack. Understand this clearly: the enemy does not attack what has no future. He does not waste energy on what poses no threat. If your mind has been under pressure, if your peace has been targeted, if your progress has been interrupted repeatedly, it is not because you are weak. It may be because you are dangerous, spiritually dangerous. But here is the truth many chosen ones forget: God never calls someone without covering them. Protection is not automatic. Just because you are chosen, it must be activated. A shield unused is a shield ineffective. Many believers are spiritually exposed not because God abandoned them, but because they never stepped into their authority. So what is God's shield? God's shield is not a physical barrier. It is divine covering that surrounds your mind, your decisions, your household, your purpose, and your destiny. It is spiritual authority granted to those who align with Him. It is the invisible defense system that blocks what was meant to break you. But activation requires alignment. The first key to activating God's shield is identity. If you do not know who you are, you cannot walk in authority. Identity confusion creates vulnerability. When you believe lies about yourself, that you are unworthy, powerless, or insignificant, you step outside your spiritual authority. The shield weakens when you accept a false identity. Chosen ones must reject labels that contradict God's purpose. You are not your mistakes. You are not your trauma. You are not your past failures. You are not the rejection you experienced. You are not the opinions of people who misunderstood you. You are called. You are assigned. You are equipped. When you stand firmly in that identity, something shifts. Fear loses access. Insecurity loses influence. You begin operating from confidence instead of survival. That confidence activates spiritual resistance against opposition. The second key is guarding your atmosphere. Many people pray for protection while entertaining what weakens them. You cannot activate God's shield while feeding negativity daily. What you consume shapes your spirit. What you watch, what you listen to, who you allow close. All of it either strengthens or weakens your covering. If your environment constantly feeds fear, anger, lust, jealousy, or comparison, you are lowering your defense system. Chosen ones must become disciplined about atmosphere. Your home must become sacred space. Your conversations must become intentional. Your habits must align with the future you are praying for. Protection grows where discipline exists. The third key is strategic prayer. Prayer is not emotional comfort, it is spiritual enforcement. When you pray, you are not informing God of your problems. He already knows. You are declaring alignment with heaven. You are reinforcing your spiritual boundary. You are announcing that your life is not unguarded territory. Weak prayer produces weak protection. Consistent prayer builds fortified walls. Chosen ones pray even when they don't feel like it, especially then. The fourth key is obedience. Delayed obedience creates exposure. And when God nudges you to leave a toxic relationship, but you stay, you step outside protection. When He pushes you to change habits, but you ignore it, you create gaps. When He calls you to forgive, but you hold resentment, you weaken your shield. Obedience is not restriction, it is reinforcement. Every time you obey, you strengthen your spiritual perimeter. Every time you ignore divine direction, you create openings. The fifth key is emotional mastery. Many attacks are designed to provoke reaction. The enemy studies your triggers. He looks for emotional weak spots. If he can't destroy you directly, he will try to destabilize you emotionally. Anger, impulsive decisions, pride-driven responses, these create cracks. Chosen ones must learn restraint. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every attack requires retaliation. Not every opportunity is from God. Emotional discipline keeps the shield intact. Calm under pressure is not weakness. It is spiritual strength. The sixth key is forgiveness. If bitterness is heavy, it drains spiritual energy. It clouds discernment. When you hold unforgiveness, you carry spiritual weight that weakens your defense. Forgiveness does not excuse harm. It releases you from being spiritually chained to it. When you forgive, you seal doors. The seventh key is faith over fear. Fear lowers your shield. Faith raises it. Fear says, what if everything goes wrong? Faith says, even if it does, I am covered. If faith does not deny reality, it declares higher authority over it. When fear tries to dominate your mind, speak truth. When anxiety rises, anchor yourself in promise. Chosen ones cannot afford to live mentally exposed. Now understand this deeply. God's shield does not mean you avoid every storm. It means storms cannot destroy you. You may still face hardship. You may still encounter betrayal. You may still go through loss. But destruction will not be your ending. Collapse will not define you. What was meant to eliminate you will only elevate you. Protection is preservation for purpose. If you are still standing after everything you have faced, that is evidence of covering. If you survived what should have broken you, that is proof of shielding. If you walk through fire and did not burn completely, that is confirmation of divine defense. Chosen ones, stop living like you are exposed. Walk like you are guarded. Speak like you are covered. Move like heaven backs you. But stay disciplined. Stay aligned. Stay aware. Because the shield activates daily, not once. Every day you must choose identity over insecurity, discipline over distraction, prayer over panic, obedience over ego, faith over fear. When you do, something powerful happens. Attacks still form, but they fail. Pressure still comes, but you remain steady. Opposition still rises, but you advance anyway. You are not lucky. You are protected. You are not random. You are assigned. And when you activate God's shield over your life, you become untouchable in the ways that truly matter. Stand firm, strengthen your mind, guard your spirit, and walk boldly, because heaven is not watching you struggle alone. Heaven is standing guard. If you are truly chosen, understand something uncomfortable. The attack is not random. It is strategic. When God places purpose inside someone, the pressure increases. Not because God is punishing you, not because you're failing, but because you are carrying something that threatens darkness. And darkness does not retreat quietly. But here is where most chosen ones misunderstand the process. You think the attack means you're losing. In reality, the resistance often means you're advancing. The shield of God is not designed to remove you from the battlefield. It is designed to make you unstoppable within it. Now let's go deeper into activation. The eighth dimension of activating God's shield is mental discipline. Most battles begin in the mind. Before there is external chaos, there is internal conversation. The enemy rarely starts with visible destruction. He starts with subtle thoughts. You're not strong enough. You're going to fail. You're alone. Why even try? If those thoughts go unchecked, they become beliefs. If they become beliefs, they shape decisions. And decisions shape destiny. Chosen ones must become guardians of their thoughts. You cannot activate God's shield while entertaining self-doubt daily. The shield strengthens when your mind aligns with truth. When negative thoughts appear, confront them. Do not negotiate with them. Do not let them sit comfortably. Replace them. Your internal dialogue determines your spiritual defense system. The ninth dimension is separation. Not everyone assigned to your past is permitted in your future. This is where many chosen ones weaken their shield through attachment. You outgrow environments. You outgrow relationships. You outgrow habits. And when you try to drag them into your next season, you create friction. Sometimes protection looks like isolation. You may feel alone, misunderstood, distanced. But that separation is often preparation. God removes distractions before elevation. The shield strengthens when unnecessary voices fade. Certain people left your life and chaos left with them. That was not coincidence. That was covering. The 10th dimension is humility. Power without humility becomes vulnerability. The moment you believe you are self-made, self-sustained, self-protected, pride opens cracks. The shield of God responds to surrender, not arrogance. Chosen ones must stay grounded. Every success, every breakthrough, every escape from disaster, acknowledge the source. Gratitude reinforces protection. Pride weakens it. Now understand this clearly. Spiritual warfare is subtle before it is visible. Not every battle looks dramatic. Sometimes the attack is distraction, endless scrolling, wasted time, drained focus, delayed obedience. These don't look dangerous, but they slowly reduce momentum. The enemy cannot always destroy you outright, so he tries to exhaust you. Exhaustion is a strategy. That is why rest is part of activation. Yes, rest. Overworking without spiritual renewal weakens discernment. Chosen ones must rest intentionally. Not laziness, restoration. Silence strengthens clarity. Reflection strengthens authority. Another powerful truth: your words either activate or deactivate your shield. Life and death exist in speech. When you constantly declare defeat, lack, failure, and fear, you reinforce vulnerability. When you speak strength, faith, and trust, you reinforce covering. Stop saying, everything always goes wrong for me. Stop saying, I can't handle this. Stop saying, I'm probably going to fail. Chosen ones speak differently. They say, I am covered. They say, I am guided. They say, even this will work for my growth. Speech programs your spiritual environment. Now let's confront something deeper. Some of you have survived things you shouldn't have, accidents that could have ended you, situations that could have destroyed your reputation, moments of depression that could have resumed here, yet you are still here. That is not luck, that is preservation. And preservation means unfinished purpose. The shield of God has been active even when you were unaware. The question is, will you now activate it consciously? Because unconscious protection can only carry you so far. Conscious activation multiplies it. From this point forward, move differently. When conflict arises, pause before reacting. When fear rises, pray before spiraling. When opportunity appears, discern before jumping. When temptation knocks, remember your assignment. Chosen ones cannot afford casual living. You are not meant to live emotionally reactive, mentally scattered, spiritually distracted. You are meant to live aware. Aware that every decision either strengthens or weakens your shield. And here's the final truth for this part. The shield of God does not just protect you, it intimidates what opposes you. When you walk in alignment, some attacks won't even approach. Some people won't even try you. Some opportunities that would have trapped you simply won't appear. Not because you're lucky, but because your spiritual perimeter is strong. Darkness senses resistance. Heaven honors discipline. So activate it daily. Wake up and declare covering over your mind. Guard your eyes, guard your ears, guard your speech, guard your peace, and most importantly, guard your purpose. Because chosen ones do not live exposed. They live shielded. They live disciplined. They live aware. And when you fully activate God's shield over your life, you stop surviving and you start advancing.